Endeavor Houston, are you ready for the event?
Endeavor is ready for the event.
Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, this is Houston. Please call Endeavor for a voice check.
Endeavor, this is the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. How do you read me?
Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Endeavor reads you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavor, traveling 125 nautical miles above the Earth. Right now, we're just crossing the United States border by Seattle and Oregon.
Well, you're in America now, and you've got a whole group of thousands of your fellow Houstonians and fellow Texans down here cheering for you. We've got Commander Kevin Kriegel speaking to us. Also on board in the middle there is Janet Kamandi. And Janet, we're glad that you're here with us in the Astrodome tonight. And our other one is the mission specialist from the European Space Agency, that is Gerhard Thiele, and his nickname is Hoss. Hey, didn't we see you on the Bonanza series at some time, maybe, huh? Well, we're glad that you're here with us. Hey, Hoss, how did you get that nickname?
Well, that nickname I actually received when I was a payload specialist on the STS-55 D2 crew. I once walked in all dressed up like a cowboy from West Texas, and so I got the name.
Well, you know, we're so proud to be linked up with you folks tonight, because the main purpose of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is educating our young people in Texas. And Commander, what do you have to say to the young people that's here in the Astrodome tonight about their schoolwork?
Well, I think if they study hard and reach for their dreams, they can achieve anything they want. We really appreciate all the work the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo does throughout the years. I guess this year you're giving away $8 million for the Texas children education, and throughout the year, $68 million, which that shows a lot of the good work that you're doing for the Texas students. And keep up the super job.
Endeavor Houston, I think the Beatles had SRTM in mind when they wrote that song.
Thank you, Mario. I have a very Beatles fan from my childhood. So today will be a very nice day, another day for the mapping. Thank you. Welcome aboard STS 99 flight deck. Yes, for your request, we have some research on your questions. So I hand over to Dom. We are now flying just over Vietnam.
So we had a couple special questions come from MCC, and the first one was from the Flight Activities Officer, and he was interested in knowing how we really set up our network and how we get the messages he sends us so often. So first of all, we should take you on a little tour and show you how we have our computers set up. And first picture starts down on the mid-deck, where we have the printer and the OTA computer, and you can see we've just installed them on the wall of the right as you come down from the flight deck, and the printer just is sitting there with access. Up underneath that bag where we have data tapes stored that have already been recorded is the OTA computer, and the OTA computer is a computer that takes all the signals from the ground and routes them up and processes them just like internet LAN. We've got network cables that come up through this access way to the flight deck, and we have two computers operating on the flight deck. The first is the ProShare computer, which has a program called KFX that processes all the messages that come up from the Flight Activities Officer, and it sends to all the other computers for access as well, but this is the computer that has the main drive that the other computers access if crew members want to read mail. It's also where we initiate print commands from, just like you would on any home computer or a computer at work. And this is the third computer that's networked to the other two, and it's called our world map computer. You can see there's a world map on there, and that was just taken a few minutes ago over Asia. You can see the green landmass. This computer you can also use to read email and messages. And the last question we had come up from the ground MCC. I'm not sure who was asking this question, but the question was, do you snore in space? And to answer that question, we did a little investigative reporting just a few minutes ago. Camcorder decided to go downstairs where the red shift was sleeping, and we have those three crew members in their sleep stations, and their doors are pretty far shut, except there was one, and I'm not going to tell you who was in that sleep station, except he's never flown in space before this flight, and I saw that crack in the sleep station and went up to it, and we put our ear up next to that thing, and we found, in fact, that people do snore in space. This noise on this one was not very loud, but it certainly was identifiable as a snore. I guess there's been some reports of other crew members snoring much louder, although I've never heard it, which might give you some evidence of where that's coming from. So I think a lot of people have wondered about this before, what causes that action in the back of your throat and your nose, but it's certainly not affected by zero-G.
Yes, you'll see how many things I can simultaneously do with my hands, two mic buttons, but we'll try to talk you through what's going on. Amora is acknowledging the handover message, and we'll give the POC a courtesy call on air to ground 1. POC Endeavor, Pietra R1, take change and work. Amora checks it's in standby. We both check to make sure the lock lever pin is down, which it is. He opens the door on the tape recorder, pulls out the tape, puts the blue C-radar sticker on the tape, which gives it also a sequence number. I swap a brand new tape with him. He writes the time at which the tape goes in. I wrote the same time down in a tape log. Memorial tensioned the tape, and I checked it, again, as we mentioned before, we do this as two-person ops. Puts a new sticker on for the number, which I can check in this log and make sure we get these things in order. They are in rows, so you sometimes can get the wrong sticker. After that's complete on the record interface computer, we tell it to initialize the tape. Again, two-person ops, and Morrow selects it. I agree that I see it, and give him a go to do the final select on the initialization of the tape, and I see it. We set a timer to make sure that it initializes properly. It takes about 3 minutes to run through the whole sequence. And this is our basic medical kit. It's kind of a little pharmacy on this side and then some emergency stuff on this side. But Tom, be my able-bodied assistant here, because I don't think I can hold the mic and the locker and the stuff. Okay, this is called our Airway Medical Kit, Accessory Kit. This is one of the more aggressive things that we have. It's pretty impressive that they would even allow us near this equipment, given the kind of training that some of us have had. You may recognize this from the CPR training. Some people probably have seen this before. It's a way of getting into your airways. If they get blocked, you can cut in down here in the throat and insert this in and get past. You can also go in and hold the tongue down and go in this way. It's a pretty aggressive way of getting in past a blockage if someone should inhale something or get something stuck in their throat. And we can use this as a light on that you can inspect down inside the throat. We also have an IV accessory kit. We're trained in how to give IV fluids. If someone should have severe problems with the flu or something, get dehydrated, which is pretty common on the ground. It can be pretty dangerous in orbit because it's hard to keep from getting dehydrated in orbit. So this one's a little bit easier. Janet Cavandi, the other chief medical officer on this flight, and I have trained this several times, and we have some very brave volunteers at Johnson Space Center who actually let us stick needles in their arms and insert IV kits. And so that one we're pretty well trained in. It's a little kit that has everything you need. It has syringes for flushing the lines with water to get all the air out. We've got gauze packs, gloves, and all kinds of needles and butterfly IV equipment to insert into people's arms and tape them down. Tom's going to get overloaded here before too long. This is another one that's kind of interesting. They do train us how to do CPR, so we have an oxygen mask, like, again, people who've had CPR training would be familiar with. But in the shuttle, it's kind of hard to do the standard CPR because, as you may be aware, you use your body weight to help compress the lungs to do the breathing for the person. So we have these restraint harnesses, which I'm not going to unpack because we'll never get them back in, but you can see they're cords and straps that allow you to hook yourself into the lockers on the middeck and to use that as a floor to strap yourself down in to help do a CPR kind of thing. And this helped me pull this out. This is our emergency medical kit. It's kind of the tools of trade for pretty simple emergency procedures, a little less aggressive than the ones we just looked at. Although the most aggressive of those is dental. They do take us over to the dental office and have us learn how to do things like take out teeth, which I wouldn't really want to do. More common would be to have to inject Novocaine in order to numb someone who's having a problem with pain. So we have a dental kit here in the back. You can see we have a blood pressure cuff here in the middle. There's various syringes and injectables that we can do people. And this is the one thing I've actually done on orbit. On my first shot as a first flight as a CMO, I gave a shot to one of my crew members on orbit. So this piece of the kit I've actually used before. You can see there's a lot of stuff in here, and to help us, what they do is they label these kits with a letter. So this says injectables A, and then each of these little things have number. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. They're numbered down the side, and we have a checklist that'll say get something from compartment A1 is this side of the pack, A1, 3, or this is A2 on this side, and there's stuff on the back side, etc. So that's this kit, and there's one last kit in here. This is sort of our drug kit. They have a wide variety of things for all kinds of different applications, more than you could think we could easily deal with on the shuttle. And in fact, most of them are very rarely used, but they want to have lots of choices for different things that can arise. For example, on this flight, we have some extra stuff packed up here in the top. The flu has been really virulent this year, and so we have some special flu medications that are not part of the standard kit that were packed on board just for this flight. We brought them in carry-on and then added them to the top of the kit. Inside, packed in all of these little vials, is various kinds of medications. It's standard kind of stuff that you would get for any kind of general illness on the ground. Aches and pains, lacerations, flu, just a general ailment that you would get from a GP kind of physician. And again, it has the same kind of things. They have a label here. This is bandage stuff. This is oral medications. This is topical things like antibiotics and stuff like that. And again, each one has a checklist that allows us to figure out what all this stuff is. And then in the very, very back of this kit are all the little cards. Anytime you do anything to one of your crew members, you write down on each have an individual card. You write down the card what you gave them and when you gave them, what the symptoms were. So if there's any issues about any reactions or interactions between the medications, we have a complete record of what was done to everybody. So that's kind of a quick rundown. And I am a fully trained CMO, so if any of you need any shots or any IV injections or any holes in your throat, I'm quite capable of doing that. In fact, I had one of my very brave crew members, John Gorey, volunteered to let me give him a flu shot, and so I am very recently qualified on all of these sorts of techniques. And that's what CMOs do.
Endeavour Houston, you have a standing ovation from the flight surgeon's console, and imagine you have a little cleaning up to do now.
This is Mission Control Houston, back with continuing coverage of the STS-99 shuttle radar topography mission at the mission elapsed time of 9 days, 5 hours, and 42 minutes. Endeavour is preparing to make a northwest-southeast swing that'll take it across the Midwest and the southeast portion of the United States as it orbits at an altitude of 152 miles above the Earth's surface, nearing the end of its mapping mission. On board the red team of Commander Kevin Kriegel, Mission Specialist Janet Cavandi, and Mission Specialist Gerhard Thiele continue to watch over the tape recorders and instruments on board as the blue team of Mission Specialist Dom Gorey, Janice Voss, and Mamoru Mori are in their sleep shift. Here in Mission Control, the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers has taken over for the off-going Orbit 1 team. Paul Dye, the lead flight director for this mission, is now in charge of the team, with Mario Renko, the astronaut, in charge of speaking with the crew on board.